Hello everyone, Thijs here again, and this time I'm doing the first card review of the Ungoro set. Yesterday there was a big announcement of Blizzard where they revealed the first cards of the set, and yeah, I just want to give a short recap for myself on it and reviewing the cards that were released. And as you already can see, here's the first card that got revealed. It is a big dinosaur, a 7 mana dinosaur for Hunter. Swamp King Dred, 7 mana 9/9. After your opponent plays a minion, attack it. So, looking at the card from the first perspective, Hunter has had quite a rough time in the meta. But this card looks quite solid. A 7 mana 9/9 when you can play it on the board, and especially with the direct attack that the minion that it can make on minions that get played. 7 mana 9/9 stat-wise is really strong. We all know King Crush as a legendary from Hunter, what has always been a little slow for a charge attack. But this is kinda has a little charge too, where if a minion from your opponent gets played, it's immediately an attack into the minion. As a 7 mana 9/9 looks quite like a strong minion for the Hunter, definitely a good legendary. The big question is, of course, is it gonna make the card viable? Is it gonna make Hunter viable, especially? And that, I think, will not be yet. We don't know what is coming all in for the Hunter more, but just looking at this card, it's probably not enough for Hunter, because Hunter has a little problems with trading on board at some point. Hunter is not the class that can trade the best on board. Control Hunter is not a class really that strong. So it's gonna be hard to really make it into constructed for now. But it is the card itself is quite promising, and I hope it gets a little more support, so it will become viable in Ungoro and for Hunter. Next card is Arcanologist. It's a mage card. Battle Cry, draw a secret from your deck. 2 mana 2/3. I was thinking a little bit about this card, and I'm having a little double thoughts about it. In Constructed, I don't think the card can be really played. And this is not because this card is not good, but just because the secrets from the mage are not really that strong, that appealing to really play. Well, you see the secrets now being played in like Freeze Mage and Reno Mage. They both rotate out, Reno and Iceland, so it will be really hard. The mage secrets are a little overpriced for their mana. But a 2 mana 2/3 draw a secret, so just draw a card, is really good. If you think about it, if you could play a card like this in Arena, it's probably a really good card to just play, that you can also curve so strong. You play this at turn 2, you draw your secret, and what is a 3 mana spell. So curve wise, it's really good. But looking in a constructed, and what for deck would you like to play it, there is no secret mage that I would say is really good. I have tried it a little bit myself at the start of the expansion, but the secret mage is just not really something appealing, something you can really make work in constructed. The level of the secrets is just too low, and the deck also. So I hope there will be coming a little bit more for the secret. It's not like a mad scientist that you get the secret directly on the board. What made it really strong. So the card could be really good, but the current secrets that are there for the mage and the current mage decks that are running secrets are just not really looking into this card yet. So I hope there will be a little bit more coming to support the card. This one we did already. And here you have a Dinosize. Wow, what a card, guys. 8 mana. Set a minion's attack and health to 10. Well, really dinosizing the minion. Really interesting card here, because it's a really big card in some way, of set a minion's attack to 10 and a health to 10. People compared it a little to Pyroblast, but I am not really agreeing with that totally, where I don't think it is as good as Pyroblast. Like Pyroblast, if back in the day Pyroblast was 8 mana, and you called it was a really strong card. But a Pyroblast doesn't get wrecked by a single removal. It doesn't have to pass taunts. It can go directly to the face. It doesn't need a minion to be on board where you can play it on. And this card needs that. So I feel there's a little bit more weakness into it. Also, if you have like an... it's just +9/+9. So it's not always like increasing for 10. And it's a little... yeah, it's way harder to pull off. Not as consistent. And I think that is a little bit of the problem for the card. I also think the problem is a little bit that it is an Paladin card. Yes, it adds burst to a Paladin deck, but Paladin probably doesn't have that. But the 8 drops from Paladin are so good. We have Tyrion. We are having Ragnaros. Like, do you want to play a Dinosize in that deck where you... Paladin is not a deck that plays from ahead, that or that really has a playstyle from playing from ahead, and it really is so questionable if you can really connect the card that well, where there are more consistent cards that you can play. So I think for Constructed, Dinosize has potential, but not really yet looking a card you would like to play in current Paladin decks. Next card is a Priest card, not the most appealing card that you can say like, wow, this card came out of the new expansion, but a really solid one. 4 mana Priest card, 2/6, taunt, death rattle, give a random friendly minion +1/+1. We also saw already the Priest quest that we started from the first release, where you got the Priest quest where you want to play 6 minions with Death Rattle. Well, this is a really good Priest card that can just support the quest mechanic from the Priest. A 4 mana 2/6 taunt with a Death Rattle of giving a friendly minion +1/+1. It's, if you compare it in a way to like Twilight Guardian, what is a really common card, well, you don't need the support of the dragons. You even get a little bonus of giving a friendly minion +1/+1. It has taunt, so I think this card is really solid overall. It's it really is one of the cards that if there are more Death Rattle cards coming out, a card you will always put into your Priest deck. You can even play it like 2 offs. What a Priest really likes is also to have healthy minions. 6 health is really nice for Priest. You have a lot of ways to buff your healthy minions, and from there on snowball the game a little. So I think that also that this card has the 6 HP is really a big plus for Priest. And I think this card is something that, yeah, really cool to see. Really defensive card, really good card against aggro too. And a really good card to support the quest from the Priest. So I'm really looking forward if there are more Death Rattles coming in, and then I think this card can be a really good card for the quest mechanic from Priest. And this card, guys, this card made me really excited about the new expansion. It's a really really card that's just adds a totally new mechanic to the game. I wasn't sure. I'm still not sure if this card is going to be good enough. If how it will fit into Rogue. With Rogue also now rotating out some Pillager. Well, this is also a 4 mana card. But that there is a new mechanic coming into Hearthstone. That made it really excited. What does the card do? It's an as you can see, it's a Rogue Legendary 4 mana 5/3. Go Dormant. What does that mean? It's a little hard to explain, but it is play 5 cards in a turn to revive this minion. This minion, when it dies, it takes a spot on the board. It takes a spot on the board that will just be there all game. So that you only have 6 spots left on the board, but you cannot. Your opponent is not able to kill it. It will be there on the board all the time. And what does it do? Play 4 cards in a turn to revive this minion. So every time that you go, that you play 4 cards in your turn, what is hard? Of course, it's hard. But once you play 4 cards in one turn, you revive the minion. So it comes back. 4 mana 5/3 comes back, and I think that makes the. I'm just not sure how good it will be. I think it will be played in. It will get tried out in Miracle decks. Miracle Rogue is the deck you want to try this card in. And you need a lot of cycle, you need a lot of card draw itself to play 4 cards every turn. But just that there is now a new mechanic coming into the game, and yeah, the revive of this card, I'm really excited about. And I also think the card is hard to say yet, but I think it has a lot of potential. I definitely think there are Miracle Rogue decks that this card can fit into. So really excited about the card, really looking forward to try this card out, and really looking forward to see more of this mechanic. Here, a Deceit. When you play 4 cards in a turn, revive the minion. I'm first gonna review this one. And here we have another quest. As we all know, there will be a quest for every class, and here is the Warlock quest. Warlock quest is discard 6 cards, reward Nether portal. Before we go to the Nether portal, discard 6 cards. That's not that easy. I know there is a lot of like zoo decks around, also discard zoos, but discarding 6 cards, that means you have to have like good Soulfires that are discarding. You need to have Doom Guards that are discarding. Discarding 6 cards is a big quest. It's not as I think it is doable for sure, especially with more discard cards coming in. But it's a quest that I think is more popular maybe in some mid-range discard decks, and wonder how it will turn out. But here we got the quest for the Warlock. And what does Nether portal do? Well, as we already saw, there is a new mechanic coming into Hearthstone, and that is that it takes a spot on the board. And this one is the Nether portal. Open a permanent portal that summons 3/2 imps. Really, really strong one. You pay 5 mana for it, but you open a permanent portal that just summons 2 3/2 imps. So every turn you get 2 3/2 imps every turn. So really, value-wise, amazingly strong. Warlock already has some of these ways to make it even better. I would have liked to also see this kind of mechanic in some other classes besides Warlock, but really strong permanent portal. You have to pay 5 mana for it, but I think that is totally rewarding already directly. And yeah, I mean, value-wise, guys, your opponent also cannot do anything about it. The permanent portal stays there. It's permanent, so it cannot get removed. And that makes the card like, you know what you will do with this card. You know that you will always get this, and that your opponent cannot do anything directly against it. So really, really strong quest card. I wonder how reasonable it will be to discard 6 cards. But yeah, besides that, really strong one. Really, really wonder how that will fit into decks and what the Warlock will do with it to make it viable. And this also, we are going back to another card that is also revealed this set. It is the Lakkari Felhound. Taunt, Battlecry, discard 2 random cards. I think this is a really, really strong card, guys. I think the 4 mana 3/8, I mean, stats-wise, this card is so good. It will already be quite good into general zoo decks. I think zoo decks, we all know how good it can sometimes be when a Doom Guard just doesn't discard cards. Like, you don't even need to play the quest card, I think, for current zoo decks to just fit this card in. I think if you can just, the tempo swing of the cards, the Warlock hero power that you can just get cards back, and the potential of you just not discarding 2 cards, but just discarding 0 cards, or discarding 1 card. I think it's a really strong card, the 4 mana 3/8. Really powerhouse, especially in more aggressive metas where it is tempo based metas. I think this card will really shine, and maybe it makes also a more defensive mid-range zoo style possible, where you don't need to like always have the offensive style, but just a defensive way, buffing the card afterwards, or discarding and fitting your quest mechanic. Really good demon, guys. Maybe not Doomguard level good, but definitely a strong one that might be just an include in almost every discarded oriented Warlock deck. And here, guys, explore Ungoro. Well, what are we gonna do with this new expansion? We for sure gonna explore Ungoro. And what do we have for card here that we gonna explore Ungoro with? Replace your deck with copies of Discover a card. 2-mana warrior card. I was a little bit at the start like, wow, so warrior is getting this mechanic. It was not something that will get into my mind from like, yeah, this is something that warrior likes to do. Kinda has like a Raven Idol mechanic. Kinda has like the craziness of Renounced Darkness. So I don't think it is directly a card you can make viable and constructed. It also takes a place in your deck. But yeah, like, it's a crazy card. You can make a crazy fun decks with this card. It's it can go crazy. Like, what it can do, it's kind of unlimited. That is how much can happen. And the craziness of the card is for sure something really exciting. I think you can make really fun decks with this card. Not sure what you all want to do with it and what it can do, but yeah, it kind of makes a Renounced warrior style playable. And I wonder what people will come up with to put into decks to make this to make a great deck with the card. So exciting card for sure. Definitely gonna be fun. And here, one of my favorite cards, guys, that is released. One of my favorite cards that is getting into the set. It's the Tar Creeper. 3 mana 1/5, Taunt has +2 attack during your opponent's turn. These are the cards I think are really great for Hearthstone. I think we definitely need more cards like the Tar Creeper. Why do we need more cards like the Tar Creeper? I think it is a card... the problem sometimes was with making really good anti-aggro cards or really power cards in the early game was that aggro decks were even playing them. But Tar Creeper is a great example of how you can make a design that is really healthy for Hearthstone. 3 mana 1/5, but once it is your opponent's turn, it's a 3 mana 2/5. It's like a Senjin then for 1 less mana. I think this card is really powerful. I think the card is really strong. Definitely. And what I really like is that it is a neutral card, so you can play it into... every defensive deck you would like to play in. Maybe some trading based decks like Zoo that are really going for minion trades can also still fit it in. But besides that, I think it's a great card against an aggressive meta that is going on now. And yeah, I always miss the heal bot, I miss the zombie chow, and I think Tar Creeper is great. I'm really happy Blizzard putting a more defensive card here for the early game in the game. Really consistent card in that way too. So really happy getting the that the Tar Creeper comes in here now. Definitely a really strong card. Definitely a card that we can now put in our more control based decks to still survive the early game. Really exciting. And here, guys, what do we have? Is it the Golakka Crawler? I was talking about this on stream myself, guys. When I was playing against so many pirate warriors, I was like, can we just please get a dino that is gonna eat a pirate and that just gets like +1/+1. It is not a dino, it's a beast. But wow, here we go, guys. Destroy a pirate game +1/+1. I don't know how big the meta impact of the card will be. I don't know how happy we should be with this card, but that it is here in the card and that Blizzard wants to take care of pirates in this way, I'm really happy about. I think we should be a little care with like a mechanic like this coming in. It's a little of an... yeah, it can be a little unfun sometimes when... yeah, well, they need to have the pirate, and for pirate decks it can be a little snowbally. I definitely think it also comes maybe a little late. But I'm happy because Pirates is really a frustrating, aggressive deck that has such a power level that there is another tech card that we can now play against it if we really want. 2 mana 2/3 stat-wise is also already really reasonable, so it doesn't hurt your deck too much at all. I also don't think that Pirate decks can really, like, you can think of like Pirates decks playing this, that then go turn 1 patches and then they play this card. to eat the patches, but the snowball effect of that is really low, where the snowball effect of you eating a mid-range pirate card and then gaining +1/+1 by developing a minion is really snowbally. So yeah, really, it will be, of course, a really strong card against pirate decks. It is a more tech card against meta. So yeah, gonna be cool. Gonna be a cool card. We'll see how much it will see played. But that it is in the collection, I think, is already great for the current meta. And here we have Elise the Trailblazer. Now with Elise Starseeker rotating out, I think Elise Starseeker was one of the best designed cards that we had in the game, or something that people really loved. We get another Elise back. We are getting now Elise the Trailblazer. 5 mana 5/5. Battle Cry, shuffle a sealed Unguro pack into your deck. So what does this exactly mean? Elise the Trailblazer will be the same as Elise Starseeker, that will first get the map of the Golden Monkey in the deck. It will now put an Unguro pack into your deck. What is the Unguro pack? Here we got the card. It's also a 2 mana card. 2 mana card at 5. Journey 2 Unguro cards to your hand. So once you are already draw the Unguro pack, so you first have to play the minion, then you have to draw the Unguro pack. But once you're drawing the Unguro pack, you can play it for 2 mana and you add 5 Journey 2 Unguro cards to your hand. So it already goes directly to your hand. So it's an kind of like a 2 mana draw 5 cards. And yes, they are not 5 cards from your deck, they are 5 random cards from Unguro, but that you can draw 5 cards is really, really strong. I definitely think this is a really strong card. I think that 5 mana 5/5 is totally alright, and that you then make a card in your deck that is 2 mana to then next to it shuffle to add 5 cards in your hand, not in your deck, in your hand, is really good. Of course, we don't really know what comes out in Unguro yet. If they will have a lot of bad cards, yeah, then the power level decreases. But just that it is 5 cards drawing into your hand from Unguro. There's also what Blizzard said is that it will average, I think, be 1 legendary, but I'm not, or that you had a high chance of getting a legendary, but I'm not so sure of that. But I definitely think that this Unguro pack is going to be really strong. I think this Elise is even better than Elise Starseeker now is, that is only played in control decks. But it's a little meta depending. Like, you need a little slow meta for this card to really be viable. But I think the card is really strong, and I think we're going to see it quite some play in a lot of different classes even. So really, really a great Elise coming into Unguro. So that was the first review, guys, of the expansion. I will follow this up by more reviews once there are more cards getting revealed. Thank you for watching, and let's explore Unguro.